extension in Wilms tumor. So I'll be highlighting the prevalence and the various factors, and then talk a little bit more on the technical considerations of the vascular extent. The reported prevalence in the literature is for the renal vein about 11%, for IVC varying from 4 to 8%. So the risk of embolism during surgical manipulation, with the embolus, if it is large enough, could occlude the right ventricular outflow and cause sudden death. Then there is a risk of extensive hemorrhage, tumor spill, especially because of transection of the thrombus, and risk of incomplete excision, and also the higher need for cardiopulmonary bypass. These are the reasons why it is now suggested that most patients should undergo neoadjuvant chemotherapy to decrease these risks. Most of these patients who have a vascular thrombus are asymptomatic and detected only on imaging. They can be sometimes pedal or sacral edema, and occasionally they can be Budd-Chiari-like picture because of occlusion of the hepatomegaly, which includes hepatomegaly, pain, and ascites. And as we all know, ultrasound, including a Doppler, is the most effective investigation for these, pick up this thrombus. CT scan is, I think the slide is not moving. Okay, is it now moving?
Yes.
Okay, so DOM stage 1 is thrombus less than 5 centimeters into the IVC. Stage 2 is more than 5 centimeters but intrahepatic, infrahepatic. Stage 3 when it goes suprahepatic, and stage 4 is atrial or intracardiac thrombus. This was further modified by Abdullah et al. The screen has moved. So it was further modified by Abdullah. Basically, stage 5 was added for extension into the right ventricle, and he added the annotations A, B, and C for a thrombus which is free from the vessel wall is A, B is intimal involvement or adherent, and C is extension into hepatic veins. So that is the basic modification. This is the kind of classification that we use nowadays. The treatment options for these patients are many. If the preoperative chemotherapy leads into a okay, so the treatment options include cavectomy, and if there's intracardiac extension, then cardiopulmonary bypass and removal of the atrial or ventricular extent of the tumor can be done. So we go with some examples. This is DOM 2 or Abdullah 2A, because there was no infiltration of the IVC wall in this, in which a cavotomy and extraction of the primary thrombus was performed. You can see here one of our cases where the IVC is looped superiorly and inferiorly, a cavotomy is performed, and the thrombus is extracted out in toto without transecting this thrombus, because otherwise it will be counted as a spill. This is another case in which was Abdullah type 2B because of the infiltration of the IVC wall, and there was good flow through the IVC, which we needed to preserve the IVC. So in this patient, we did a cavotomy extraction and a patch repair of the IVC. Here you see the IVC is in the pre-op investigations, which basically means that there are enough collaterals to take care of the patient. And in this patient, intrahepatic cavectomy was performed. So here we see the kidney, the left kidney tumor, the left renal vein, and the IVC with the thrombus. Initially the cavotomy was performed in this patient, and the thrombus was tried to be extracted, but then we realized the whole IVC wall was infiltrated. So we dissected the IVC in the retrohepatic portion right up to the junction with the hepatic veins. The other contralateral renal vein was also ligated. There are collaterals and the kidney will survive. And then the IVC was repaired at this level, just intrahepatic. So this is another example of Abdullah type 5, which had infiltration and also had an extension into the intrahepatic hepatic veins. It's not moving again? Is the slide not moving?
It is, sir.
Okay. So in this patient, we see the CT scan in which there is a large left Wilms tumor with renal vein extension going into the IVC, and which is going up into the atrium and into the ventricle. In fact, this patient, the extension was going into the pulmonary artery also. So chemotherapy was given, it reduced in size, but still the extension was there into the... So preoperative chemotherapy decreases the risk of surgical complications, which I've already highlighted. In fact, up to 1/4 of the patients, there can be complete resolution of the thrombus. And more importantly, there can be regression of the thrombus away from the heart, thereby decreasing the need for cardiopulmonary bypass. But still, cardiopulmonary bypass will be required in some proportion of patients. Sometimes it is required upfront because if the patient is in cardiac failure because of occlusion of the valve or tumor rupture with risk of embolization, then an upfront surgery is required where the risk has to be undertaken and the surgery has to be performed. This is an example of how some of the tumors respond. There are certain risks in the neoadjuvant chemotherapy also. And so some people would still do upfront surgery for a number of patients. At our center, we have stopped doing upfront surgery for nearly all patients, and we would give chemotherapy to all patients, even if it is intrahepatic IVC thrombus. The surgical complications reported are high. Even after preoperative chemotherapy, there could be surgical complications. What is reported in literature is that there is no difference in the outcome for those with or without thrombus. Our experience has been different. And the literature says that the relapse-free survival is also same, which we didn't see. So a short about our experience at AIIMS in these years from 1999 to 2017. We had 382 patients of Wilms tumor, of whom 28 had a vascular extension, which is a 7.3% incidence. Unfortunately, 40% of our patients were already metastatic at presentation. Now, if you look at this treatment of these 28 patients, 2 patients underwent upfront resection. Both have a long-term disease-free survival. 26 patients underwent preoperative chemotherapy. Of these 26, 1 patient developed a progressive disease and could not be operated. 23% of the patients had complete resolution of the thrombus. This is what is very important. 15% of the patients had a thrombus regression into renal vein only, while 58% of the patients has still got thrombus more extent. And so in some, we had to do cavectomy or cavotomy with or without cardiopulmonary bypass and or total cavectomy. Ultimately, out of these 28 patients, only 3 required cardiopulmonary bypass, which means a prevalence of 11% for the requirement of cardiopulmonary bypass. See, our overall survival for these patients was 70% with the event-free survival of 60%. What is important is that when we look at the stage distribution of these patients, of the non-metastatic 17 patients, all of them are surviving long-term. Of the 11 patients who had metastatic disease, we have only 46% disease-free survival. So there was a significant difference in the metastatic and the non-metastatic patients, which is depicted here in this Kaplan-Meier curve. The overall survival is also significantly different, and the event-free survival was also significantly different. So this is important because in our cohort of patients, as I said, 40% of our patients are metastatic to begin with. So to conclude the talk, the prevalence of vascular extension in Wilms tumor is around 11%, which could be varying for renal vein or IVC or atrium. There is a need for different strategy for these patients. And there is a definite role for neoadjuvant chemotherapy, maybe for all the patients, to decrease the complications and have good outcome. There has to be a planned surgical strategy. We have to upfront decide which patients need to go into the cardiac theater for a bypass or sometimes for vascular reconstruction also. Thank you for the patient hearing.